that team had already won a championship. So no disrespect, that's just a fact.
Well, Kevin Durant just got called out again.
The old guys like myself, hey, KD's an all-time hell of a player, but until he is the guy on a championship team, we're not going to ever give him the respect, that he probably deserves.
And things, well, they just keep getting worse for Kevin Durant. In this video, we're going to get into all the nitty-gritty.
And that's just the way it is. And like I say, the game hasn't changed. Kobe said it. LeBron said it. And so we're going to hold him to the same high standard.
So when you listen here to what Chuck has to say, he's not wrong. Kevin Durant, though, he's upset.
And KD said this.
Of course, he replied in a tweet. This guy, it's so typical. All this stuff is nasty. Another terrible analogy from a hating old head that can't accept that we making more bread than him. Okay, go off, Queen.
I love Charles Barkley, and he's been so great for our game and so great for media for so long. He's wrong in this. He's just flat out wrong. To call Kevin Durant anything but the bus driver of those Warriors teams, and that is not, I want to be clear, that is not a knock on Steph Curry.
So far what JJ has to say here, he's not wrong either. Kevin Durant, he was the best player on that team during these finals. He did win those 2 MVPs.
Let's go to the Kevin Durant 2017 finals. 35 a game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1.6 blocks. Legs. His shooting splits that series, 56% from the field, 47% from 3, 92% from the free throw line. The following year, 29, 11, 7.5, 2.3 blocks a game, 52%, 41%, 96%.
But if you want to bring in KD's stats, his shooting splits, you gotta bring in the whole story, the whole context, okay? Why was KD able to get so many shots up? A lot of his shots were easy shots and for good reason.
Kevin Durant was absolutely incredible in those finals runs. As you know, right. You watched it. We all watched it. Kevin Durant was absolutely insane. Steph Curry got double teamed probably 7 times the amount that KD did in a given series.
And when this story broke, I was trying to make a video about this on my second channel, but really I just didn't like the way it came out, so I just, I stopped talking about it. But this is a great opportunity to bring this back up because, KD and Draymond went at it on Twitter. And you can argue what Draymond said in that clip. Both KD and Draymond are right here. But the offense itself, this just highlights that Curry is the engine of this machine.
Oh, well, I think our offense is always a lot of Steph. It all starts with Steph. Whether, when KD was here, our offense still started with Steph. And that's the way it's going to be.
And this is not to say that Curry was better than KD during these finals run. No. Kevin Durant deserved those MVPs. But Ty Lue said it, man. They were trying to blitz Curry when he had the ball because they knew how dangerous Curry was. But people keep misunderstanding what Chuck means by being the bus driver.
All you haters out there have got to acknowledge either the soul of the team for this entire dynasty has been Steph. I'm good with that. I don't agree with it, but I'm okay with it. Or you have to acknowledge that Steph in the first and the 4th championship drove it, and KD in the 2 middle ones drove it.
Don't know why you would disagree with the first point when it actually goes well with the second point. Because, okay, look, Kevin Durant, he may have drove the bus during those 2 championships that he won. But let's be honest, who gave him the directions in that bus? Curry.
If that's not the bus driver, I don't know what is the bus driver.
Oh, listen, 100%. Listen, and this is where I'm at on this. Charles took it a little bit too far. I think, he basically is giving Kevin Durant almost no credit for what went on in Golden State. When we use this analogy as the bus, now this is the new thing, and so the way I put it is, yes, he was the bus driver. He was the best player on those teams. Even Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson are going to tell you Kevin Durant was the best player on those teams. He was driving that bus, but it was a borrowed bus. The registration in that glove compartment has Steph Curry's name on it. All right, so he was following the bus.
And it's that simple, folks. If he was actually the bus driver throughout the entire dynasty, let's think about it. Why would he criticize the motion offense that Steve Kerr ran with his Warriors team? He wouldn't do that. He would have no problem with this offense, seeing that it would actually benefit him the most. But deep down, KD knew who the real bus driver was.
Hey, Steph, show the people what you got, what you're working with here.
I had to bring the jewelry back out. I don't look at it during the year. That's a flex.
So now, that motion offense that he criticized, that won them their 4th championship.
Well, one Twitter user said it simply, Kevin Durant's legacy just died.
I mean, look, it was inevitable that the conversation was going to be had, because in fact, KD's legacy did take a hit. Now, how many rings does Curry have now?
It's got to be the motivation, but every so once in a while, you got to remind yourself.
You got to remind
yourself. You got 4.
KD supporters, man, they still are out here saying his legacy has not been affected by this.
Well, I do agree with you. I think Kevin Durant's legacy is already set. I'm actually tired of this conversation that we continue to talk about. Whatever Golden State does, we put that with Kevin Durant. I've moved past that, and we all have to move past that.
What are you talking about, dude? KD hasn't moved past it. Look at what he did last year.
Kevin Durant got caught liking a fan's tweet yesterday that was trash talking Steph Curry.
There is no defending this. This is just such a shameful act.
He did unlike it.
Yeah, it's too late.
Right.
It's too late, Skip.
So I'm sure when the Warriors brought that Larry O'Brien trophy back to San Francisco, he was watching with so much bitterness and anger and resentment.
How you doing? Congratulations.
Fantastic. We champs again. It's nice to bring old Larry back home where he belongs. Like Draymond said, it's the Warriors' invitation. We back. So this is pretty special for sure.
KD fans, this is how stupid you look when you say stuff like this.
I don't think his legacy's sliding back just because the Celtics had a lot of turnovers.
So we're just gonna forget that incredible playoff run the Celtics had to make it to the finals? I'm pretty sure he's living in denial at this point, man.
In this moment, the legacy's taking a hit, if only for this reason. A year ago, everyone except Nick and maybe a few others had Kevin Durant ahead of Steph Curry, like in the all-time rankings, right?
He's actually right, but this was actually this year before the playoffs began. KD was at number 13 in the Athletics list, and Curry at 15. And then KD was at number 12 on ESPN's 75 list, and Curry at 16. Like, what the heck?
Because we had never, ever seen another guy in a parade bring out all his trophies that he had won in a given season. He brought them all and had the rings dangling on his neck.
That's why you just gotta love Curry's pettiness, man. He knows how much this means to him and his legacy. And he knows how much this is hurting other people's legacies, namely KD. And also hurting the fans of KD, like Skip Bayless here.
And I did not love anything about this parade for all the reasons you just detailed. It made me sick. They make me sick. I don't get beloved Steph because all year long, beloved Steph got more and more showboaty, hot doggy, out of control with egomania on the floor. So I have to put up with Steph, and I put him to sleep.
Yeah, he did that.
He's putting me away because it's hard to watch it because they did do it. Right. They pulled it off. I still say it deserves an asterisk.
No. For what?
Because it should say asterisk fraudulent foe. That's what it should say. Fraudulent foe in the fraudulent finals.
Skip.
How about FFF? Fraudulent finals foe. Asterisk FFF. Because the Celtics were completely flawed and fraudulent. You know it, and I know it.
This was honestly one of the best things to happen in the NBA landscape, man. Warriors winning it. It's just brought out so much salt.
I'm just trying to think of the most controversial thing I can say. Like the media, like they do. You know?
Yet another example of why the Warriors did not need KD. But KD, they needed the Warriors. He needed them.
Well, Boston got physical like they did in the 90s and the early 2000s, and KD was turning the ball over left and right and shooting 39% from the field. And then Steph, who people had the same argument about, and he goes out and averages 30 plus on like 50% shooting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess hoes are mad. That's all we can take away from this, man. But it's okay, though. We move because KD, well, it gets worse.
According to The Athletic, Brooklyn's Kyrie Irving, who has a June 29th deadline on his $36.9 million player option for the 2022-23 season, has had conversations about his future with the Nets gone stagnant.
Man, Kyrie's already making headlines during the offseason. That's interesting. Now, this story comes from The Athletic, and I know what some of you are thinking. I can't read this, it's behind a paywall. Actually, it's free, but Molly sums it up here better than I could.
And an impasse currently exists among the parties that could clear the way for the 7-time All-Star to consider the open market.
Thankfully, Stephen A. actually talked about this because it gave way for one of his emphatic rants that I love so much.
Let me get this straight. An impasse. This is a guy that missed 127 games over the last 3 seasons. And he thinks that he deserves a 4-year extension, fully loaded, on top of the $36.5 million he's expected, or obviously he can opt in and he's scheduled to make for this upcoming season. I mean, what nerve? What nerve? What gall? And listen, talk about delusional. I mean, that's this dude.
We've got breaking news. Now, Stephen A. apparently made a mistake, and we'll have to correct it in post, unfortunately.
If it wasn't 127 games, my bad, y'all. It was 123.
Man, that's embarrassing. He still missed 20 more games. Man, Kyrie is so unreliable.
You know what I found out, Kendrick Perkins? You know what I've been told? Do you know that this brother Kyrie Irving last season would conduct his own practices? So when Steve Nash had the team on the floor and they practiced, they would finish and he'd go and get 5 guys and conduct his own practice. You have any idea how disrespectful that is to Steve Nash?
Kyrie is just different, man. Now, the obvious is that Kyrie is doing this because he's trying to establish leverage here.
Most of the league is reading this as a leverage play. Kyrie trying to leverage the Nets into giving him something that he wants on a new contract.
Now Kyrie responded by putting up a GIF on Twitter, and the media made a big deal of it, as they usually do during the offseason.
He went to his Twitter account and put up a picture of a character from The Wire. We tried to figure it out. We don't know what's going on. We just couldn't quite figure it out. It was a popular character coming back to Baltimore. I don't know what it means.
I'm pretty sure it's just a GIF, Colin. You could just move on from the story if you don't have anything else to say. Now, Kyrie, he did say this after being swept by the Celtics.
Do you plan on pursuing an extension with the Brooklyn Nets this summer?
Oh, shit. Oh, man. And I don't really plan on going anywhere, so, you know. This is, like I said, this is added motivation for our franchise to be at the top of the league.
Oddly enough, Kyrie did say this to the Celtics faithful at one point.
If you guys will have me back, I plan on re-signing here next year.
Boom! But to be fair to Kyrie, he was going through a lot that season, man. It's just unfortunate to see.
Things just got really, really rocky for me in terms of when I left. I believe you know, after the Phoenix game, I went to my grandfather's memorial, and he passed on October 23rd, and after he passed, basketball was the last thing on my mind.
So you could easily forgive him for that. Now, Kyrie, this is where you walk on a thin line right now with the whole mandate protest and stuff. Kyrie had this complex that was quite concerning.
I was not expecting, you know, a mandate to be brought down in a way that it wasn't going to allow me to play at all.
I'm pretty sure Kyrie's a good guy, man. I understand he has his beliefs. But this is where I get really worried and just quite frankly nervous if I'm a Brooklyn Nets official. Like, what is this crap?
Yeah, just had to sit in that hot seat for a little bit and deal with it, man. Life of a martyr, bro.
As a practicing Muslim himself, he should know better than to compare himself to the actual martyrs. I mean, this is insane. Now Kyrie Irving and James Harden, well, they had this relationship in Brooklyn, but it got really rocky at one point, with things ending very abruptly.
That's just what it is. I wish him nothing but peace and love. Like, we have a great friendship, but it didn't work out. I wish things could have been communicated better for all of us, you know, as men. But, hey, like, no hard feelings here with me.
Now that Harden was a Sixer, a lot of people were pointing their fingers at Kyrie, because he was the one that apparently made Harden's feelings sour towards the Nets, and he had some things to say that were interesting.
For me, it made sense, man. It's a time where I needed to be, you know, around guys that I know that want to win and know that are willing to do whatever it takes to win, and the structure here is unbelievable.
Media pundits were already making their fantasy trade scenarios with Kyrie. Now they wanted him to be with LeBron again.
That I would love to see Kyrie Irving in a Lakers uniform, playing alongside LeBron James.
But not just that, they had other reunions in their minds when making these scenarios.
What about the biggest, most blockbuster NBA trade ever? It's going to sound shocking. AD and Russ for Kyrie and Ben Simmons.
Bruh.
So the best player in the trade goes to the Nets. The worst player in the trade goes to the Nets.
This is so bad. This trade is so bad for both teams, but it somehow gets worse from here.
When you hear Shaq and you heard Kobe talk, same thing. They should have accomplished more. LeBron and Kyrie is kind of like that, but who says they still can't accomplish more? It's not over yet.
What is Max talking about? What is he trying to say here with this Kobe and Shaq thing?
The only person that would have been able to get Kyrie Irving to the Lakers would have been Kobe Bryant. You can mark that down. Kobe Bryant would have been able to get this done.
Who still says he can't?
What?
Well, look, Kyrie, you are, to inherit the legacy of Kobe, LeBron is older. It's not going to be AD. Come and be the next Kobe in LA.
Oh my god. I'm sick and tired of doing this. Why do they have to butcher Kobe like this? Stop. Please stop. In the name of God, please stop.
The first thing you would have to do is get out from under LeBron's biggest mistake of his career as a GM, and that's Westbrook.
Honestly, Ben Simmons isn't even the worst thing about this whole trade.
What team is going to say, you know what? We will take that $47 million off your hands because we want Westbrook to lead the league in turnovers for us. We want him to finish dead last in three-point shooting for us. We want Russell Westbrook to finish dead last in free throw and three-point shooting for us. What team would do that?
Well, on the Kyrie side of things, it seems like he's grown over the years since leaving LeBron James.
I definitely feel like if I was in the same maturity level I am now and understanding who I am, and I look back on that time then, we definitely would have won more championships together because there would have been a better man-to-man understanding about what I'm going through. I didn't know how to share my emotions. I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to do that. So instead of sharing, I isolated myself.
But do I really think Kyrie deserves a lengthy contract or even more money? No, I'm with Stephen A here.
You do not give a lengthy contract extension fully guaranteed. Hell no.
Now, how are things shaping up for Kevin Durant? Doesn't seem like they're shaping up too well, considering that he hasn't talked to the Nets front office since the playoffs ended.
So I think we've gotten to a point now where we're just picking on KD. He's the only redeemable thing, in my opinion, right now in Brooklyn. That's it.
And that means if Kyrie wants out, the narrative's going to go crazy like they did last time.
That's when I started to become misunderstood, is when I asked for a trade, and everybody didn't realize I was asking for a trade from the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they were like, nah, you asking for a trade.
The narrative from LeBron.
From LeBron.
That's the narrative.
So that narrative was
Yep.
carrying on. Now it's everything that he posts, everything I post is subliminal.
Yeah.
Everything that we do and everything that, you know what I mean, we talk about is subliminal.
But KD's also going to look bad here because he chose to be in Brooklyn after going to the Warriors, which is a mistake that still haunts him.
Kevin Durant not tough enough for this game. He has to go find an easy path to get his titles. So he goes and joins the best team in regular season history. I got no respect for this.
So Harden gone. If Kyrie leaves, that'll leave him with Ben Simmons. And Kevin Durant, really, he's going to be all alone. And unfortunately for KD, I just don't see things getting better. The Warriors just won another championship, proving they did not need KD to win it all after all. And Kyrie Irving is making headlines again. Will he opt out of his contract? And will he leave KD in the dust after he sought out to team up with Kyrie in Brooklyn? We'll have to find out in this NBA offseason, as things are already starting off rocky.
I told y'all don't let us win a f***ing championship, and clearly nobody could stop it.
From my view of it, this is 100% false. Then Dre fired back.
I warned y'all, so I'm just going to continue to destroy people on Twitter.
You have to learn to listen to full takes, not snippets, before you get baited into tweeting, champ.
That's what I said. Hey, I said it. Shut up.
Before you leave, could we get one more night-night for the camera, my guy?
Hey, just so you know, when it's over,
And the mic drops. Hold on, get out of here, dude. And the mic drops. And the mic drops.